The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast, recording this on the Thursday, October 2nd, 2025 for the Friday show. We try to get this as late as possible, but today is Yom Kippur. My kids are home from school, so I have a small window to record. I'm going to use this window here to do it. So how you guys doing? Yeah, I got to tell you, because I know I promise content every day. Well, at least when I say every day, I mean like content on the feed every, Monday to Friday at least. We may not have content for the we'll see how it plays out because this is for the Friday show, but it is a lot harder than you realize. I had two pods I had scheduled to record in the last 24 hours. Both were guests, but unfortunately we had to postpone those due to other reasons and stuff. And so sometimes there may be days where you may have a day that's kind of not having anything there. And I don't want to I don't always want to force something into that slot just to have something there. You know, you want to have quality too, not just to have something there, just to have something there. You want quality as well too. So yeah, and also last night too. Also, I gotta be honest with you, as it got obvious that I wasn't able to do the pod that night. I was really exhausted. I was mentally drained. Wasn't in the mood to record. And at the end of the day, you got to listen to your body. If your mind is telling you, your brain's telling you, hey, listen, slow down, take that off. It's okay. So, but it is. I'm recording this on Yom Kippur. You know, it's funny. My wife's Jewish. I've never actually researched Yom Kippur and what it actually stands for. I know it's it's 10 days after Rosh Hashanah, but I've never actually understood, because my wife's not really a practicing Jew. She's Jewish, but she doesn't practice. She's actually a Reformed Christian. But I found out some of the rules or abstentions, you call it, of Yom Kippur, which I had no idea until literally 2 hours before I started recording this podcast. Here are some of the rules of Yom Kippur. Fasting, which is no eating or drinking for the day. You can't wear any leather shoes, no bathing, no anointing the body with perfumes or lotions. And then the hard one for me, of course, is not engaging in any marital relations. First off, a lot of these are going to be hard for me. Like the bathing part, obviously, I bathe every day, so that's hard as it is. Leather shoes, whatever I can do without. I wear flip-flops a lot during the day, especially on my day off. But the boarding the body with lotion and perfumes, that's hard for me. Some of you guys that know me personally, you guys already know. I love cocoa butter. Like I hate having dry skin. It is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world. Is having dry skin, especially on my face and on my head. I can't stand it. So I'm always lathered up in lotion in some sort of cocoa butter. That's why people always say I smell really good, because I always smell like a cookie because I have cocoa butter all the time, So yeah, that's hard for me. And then of course the obvious one, and not maybe have sex with my wife, Well, what I say is that luckily for me, she's not a practicing Jew, so she's probably not gonna follow most of these things anyway. Unless she decides today to do it, or whatever to do it. So, but yeah, discovering Yom Kippur. I mean, it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, this is what it means. Okay, And for the record, I joke around about that, but I see some of the value also in that. It's balance. You know what I'm saying? It's balance. Religion. People look down on religion, but it could be a cool thing too. Also, is it strict at times? Yes, but it gives you a sense of balance and sense of normalcy in some ways. That's my opinion. I don't know. But you may agree with it. That's fine. So, but we got a good show here today. We got a lot to talk about in the show today. Michael Porter Jr., you know him, former Nugget, now Net, I believe. He's on a podcast recently and had a lot of controversial takes. I'm going to get to that, talk about that a little bit on the show. We got a massive feud that I was never interested in until literally yesterday. And now I'm like, ooh, let's talk about this. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are feuding still, apparently. Starbucks having a rough year, and HBO Peacemaker. I started watching that and actually caught up finally. We'll talk about my views on the show. But first things first, personal level here. I'm back, not back in the gym yet. My shoulder's still kind of achy. Still achy. I'm waiting another week, and I'm starting to weights again on my upper body anyway. But I have modified my workout routine, my walking. You guys know I walk every day, nearly every day rather, and I typically walk 2 miles a day, which is about, in my development, it's about 5 laps around the lake, which is very healthy. But I'm starting to get a little more, I want to put a little more gas on the pedal, if you will. So I've started to do 3 miles a day now. Now, here's the thing. 3 miles a day will require, obviously, from what I did was eight laps around, which will equal 3.24 miles, which is actually great. Even extra time out there walking is great for my body and whatnot. Which is about an hour for a day, which is doable. But there are days that I can't dedicate an hour to working out or walking. So what I decided to do recently, I know a couple days ago, I decided to do this. I would split it up. I would wake up in the morning and I would do 4 laps around, do 1.5 miles, 1.6 miles. And then I would do the other 1.6 miles after later in the day. And there is some benefits to that, obviously, to doing it. I'm reading about by spacing it out. Because I've done workouts where I've done squats. I told you guys early in the year I was doing a squat challenge. And I would do 10 squats every hour or every 2 hours. And I spread it out. And in learning and reading the research on that, it's actually good for your blood sugar, and good for your body in general to spread out all the benefits of all that out, and even walking. Now there was a day this week where I couldn't do the 3 mile split, so I decided to put all 3 miles in one spot, which was tough. Like I did in the hot sun too. On top of that, but I pushed and I did it. It took me a little less than an hour. Well, it actually took me an hour actually. Like I finished like 59 minutes and 45 seconds. The whole point is you gotta get it in. You gotta move. And for me, walking has been the core of staying fit. Trying to stay fit anyway. Because look, nutrition wise, it's still a challenge. So, but I'm trying to do that every day, or at least split it up. Even if I do 2 miles. Let's say there's a day where I don't have time to put an hour. I don't have time to do 1 walk a day. Do something. Even do 1 mile or 2 miles. It's better than nothing. Okay? But the goal is to do 3 miles a day. So that's what I'm trying to do moving forward. All right. Michael Porter Jr. for new Brooklyn Net now was recently on the Justin LeBoy podcast, or his podcast called Respectfully. He generated a lot of attention excuse me, and controversy on some views about relationships and women. The most widely takes from the podcast appearance include a debate about splitting rent with his ex-girlfriend. Despite having a near $200 million contract, Porter Jr. revealed that he split the rent 50-50 with his former girlfriend. He later explained that he wanted to pay his portion month to month to ensure she would act right and not wild out, implying that good behavior was a condition of his continued financial support for the remainder of the agreed upon term after the breakup. Excuse me. Now, I know this topic was something that I've seen on different podcasts that came up in terms of, is that right? This situation is all depending on, first off, he's in a different tax bracket now. So it depends on the girlfriend. Is the girlfriend making money more than he is, or as much as he is, or maybe a little less? That all depends, because you can't expect the girl to pay half rent or something. Let's say it's some girl that's working a 9 to 5 making $75,000 a year, and he's living in a freaking mansion, okay, and then they decide to get placed together. You can't really expect her to pay half the rent there. So to me, it's situational. Honestly, in my opinion, you should I'm not, this is gonna be a little controversial, some people there, but hear me out. You shouldn't be living with someone that you don't have the intention of marrying or at least being with for the rest of your life. That's my opinion, and I'm talking to somebody who, my wife and I, we moved in together pretty quickly within the first 2 months of dating. But again, I explained in the past that was all circumstantial. But this situation all depends on what exactly is the direction of this relationship. Are they going towards something? Are they going towards marriage? That's a different story. So I'm not going to judge them harshly on this one because I don't know the situation, who the girlfriend is or ex-girlfriend is. Because if it's an ex-girlfriend that's on level money-wise, then I get it. If it's not, and also are both their names on the lease? I don't know. So that's a little situational. In terms of testing women, he discussed testing women early in the relationship and suggests that he would throw on some Andrew Tate content to see how a girl reacts, which he felt would help him do your research on her values. Andrew Tate, very controversial guy. I don't know what he was trying to get out of that. Again, people have their own views on things. It's a little weird. I don't know why you need to throw on something to test someone. I feel like you should just talk, like in a relationship, just talk to the person and kind of be an adult about it. About the WNBA comments. He reignited previous controversial comments about the WNBA. We have stated that an all-star high school boys team could beat the WNBA All-Stars, implying that the difference in pay between NBA and WNBA is justified by the level of public interest in the sport. You guys know how I feel. You know, obviously WNBA is doing much better now. Although the girls sometimes do tend to shoot themselves in the foot with the Caitlin Clark stuff and Angel Reese stuff and all that. Ultimately, it is still being propped up by the NBA. They do consolidate the WNBA, you know what I mean? So here's the reality. The pay, he's not wrong, because again, can the WNBA make the same amount of money or close to the same amount of money as the NBA on its own without the NBA's involvement? I say no. As a sports fan, I don't watch WNBA normally. So at least from my standpoint, they don't have my money. So I don't think so he's not necessarily wrong. But I will say some things he's saying here, people will look at him and think he's probably a little misogynistic or whatever. In terms of dating preferences, he expressed specific requirements for a partner, stating that a woman needs to bring value to his life, such as cooking, cleaning, and providing mental support. And he does not want a woman to act like a dude. Again, people have their types, you know. I mean, it may sound controversial, of course. I mean, again, value means what? Because value means different things to different people. You know what I'm saying? Like if the expectation is of someone to be able to cook and clean or provide mental support, he has a right to feel the way he feels. Now, I don't know if that's a requirement for everybody. You know, let people live the life. This is what I always say about let people live the way they want to live. There are some women out there who actually think or say that is value and that's what they want to do. And if they want to do that, that's their right. I'm all about living and let live, dude. Okay? Bottom line. Sports betting. He offers perspective on the topic of NBA players and sports betting, discussing the potential financial motivations of players to influence the outcomes of games. These comments have led to widespread debate and criticism all over social media, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Sports betting, of course, very, very controversial. You know how it is. Look, some of the comments here he's made here may come off as misogynistic and controversial. If you really break it down to people and real people have actual conversations with people, it's not that controversial, bro. It's not. Like, you might think it is, and people want to be on Twitter, like, oh my God, what he's saying is bad. Talk to people. There's many people that you'd be stunned to have similar views. Okay, I don't think what he says is bad necessarily. I wouldn't go as far as he did, but again, this is why you live and let live, because let people do what they want to do. If they want a certain preference of women, let them do that. Okay, you don't have to follow along with that, and that's your right as well too on the other side. That's all I'm saying. Starbucks had its worst year since 2008. Since the financial crisis. Declining store sales, 12% drop in stock price over the past year, and ongoing struggles in inflation and shifting consumer habits. They are now shutting down 100 stores and cutting up to 1,000 jobs as part of a $1 billion restructuring plan. That sounds unbelievable to me, personally. Only because my wife goes to Starbucks all the time. Like, she's a Starbucks uh, obsessed drinker. Her friends, her coworkers, all Starbucks. I shit you not. She goes to Starbucks at least 4 to 5 times a week, at least. So it's weird to hear this, and you see my wife is doing, and see all my friends who go to Starbucks, and then you see something like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how are they down 12%? That makes no sense at all. Is it political? I don't know. Is it just people not eating out as much because they can't afford it? I mean, it could be inflation. It really could be inflation, like I said. And consumer habits. People probably making coffee more at home, which, you know me, I'm Mr. Frugal. I don't like spending money. You know what I mean? So I can see the argument for that as well too. But it's weird to still see that Starbucks, you know. And by the way, we were in New York last month in August. And we saw a bunch of Starbucks in the city, and they all were crowded. We went to the big one, the really big Starbucks ended up in the city as well too. Where they have the 2-story Starbucks with the pastries on one side, and upstairs is like a bar. It was crowded. So it's weird to see that visually, to see my daily life where we are constant Starbucks consumers, not necessarily me, my wife, and yet I see this story. I'm like, what the fuck? That makes no sense to me at all. But hey, you know, inflation is a thing. People probably button up and save money, which is the right thing to do. Save money on coffee, save money on tea, you know, all that. I rarely buy coffee I drink coffee, but tea or hot chocolate outside my house. I rarely do that. I rather make it in my house. If I buy it, it's because I'm out somewhere with my wife having breakfast, or we're at a function or something that, or out there where I can do it at home. But I don't ever regularly go out and buy tea or hot chocolate at a Dunkin' Donuts anymore, or at a Starbucks, because to me personally, it's wasting money. To me. So, but very shocking news there, though. All right, I want to break down a feud that I had zero interest in until recently. Cardi B against Nicki Minaj. Big feud going on here. And it's actually one of the most prominent rivalries in modern hip hop, rooted in competition for the title of Queen of Rap, and has escalated from subtle distance to outright public confrontation. It's gotten really bad recently now too, also. So the origin of this whole thing started back in 2017 when Cardi B came on the scene. She did a song called Bodak Yellow. There was some stuff in there in quotes in that song that basically put her as a direct threat to Nicki Minaj, long-held dominance in the genre. They did collab on a song with Migos called Motorsport. There was a rumored physical altercation in 2018 at the New York Fashion Week at the Harper Bazaar Icons Party. Apparently in September 2018, allegedly Cardi B confronted Nicki Minaj over comments she believed Nicki made about her parenting. The conversation escalated with Cardi B reportedly throwing a shoe at Nicki before being escorted out by security. Cardi was photographed with a physical lump on her forehead. Now, recent escalation as of late on social media through the feud settled to a Cold War for a few years, as recently reignited, particularly on social media's X, formerly Twitter. The latest flare-up centers around mocking each other's album sales and career status. Nicki Minaj has allegedly taken jabs at Cardi B's album sales, while Cardi has fired back by calling out Nicki's long tenure in the industry and telling her to compete with peers like Rihanna and Drake, not younger artists. Now, in terms of bringing in the family, this is the part that really bothers me. Feud all you want. Don't get the family, especially the kids, involved in this. The feud is turning ugly, apparently, with both artists now making personal attacks involving each other's children and family members, including referencing past controversies, including Nicki's husband and brother. The core of the feud remains a battle for supremacy in female rap, amplified by social media and aggressive fan bases. It's interesting because I'm not a fan of either one. I do like Nicki, you know, obviously she's from Trinidad, which my family's from. So there's some allegiance there to some degree. I've never been a fan of her music, although I will say her cameos on records are amazing. My favorite cameo she's ever done was the song with Usher. I can't remember the name of the song. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a song on Usher's I think it's the Raymond album from 2008 or 2009. She did a cameo on that one. But I've never been a fan of her music necessarily. Cardi B, same thing too, though. But I have to be honest with you. I've developed a little crush on Cardi B in recent years because one of the things I love about Cardi is that she's very authentic. She's very open and honest about her life and growing up and being a stripper and all this stuff and her being grew up in the Bronx and what she had to go through. I've always found people like her authentic, so it makes me like her as a person in a lot of ways. She feels more authentic and more honest, and I always love authenticity more than anything else. Even if you have a rough past, she addresses that. She's not trying to be fake. She's not fake at all. And to be honest with you, I look at this feud this from a outsider, from someone who's not really invested in it. Nicki comes off as very miserable and she's just very miserable. And I don't know why. She's had a great career. What's there to be mad about? So I don't know. That's just, it's weird to me that you'd be mad about that. But I don't know, man. This feud has picked up recently. I know Cardi said that, and I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, looking at the back and forth, Cardi's won this feud, in my opinion, or winning currently, because she's keeping it 100. She's just, she's one. Nicki, again, Cardi doesn't come out as miserable. Nicki does. So, but I'll keep, I don't necessarily care about this feud, but I do care now because, they get the kids involved in it too, man. Come on, bro. Come on. Keep the kids out of it. Keep the fucking kids out of it, So, all right, let's think out of here. One last thing. I am officially caught up on HBO's Peacemaker, which is also starring John Cena. Of course, you know John Cena. I mean, I'm a wrestling diehard, so I'm a big Cena guy. John Cena, of course, is retiring from WWE after this year. I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed the show. This has like a really big Deadpool feel to me. The show itself. Season 1 was definitely a lot more, in my opinion, was more slapstickish in a sense, more comedy, and I feel like season 2 is a lot more serious. Like, especially his character got a lot more serious in season 2. And it's really weird seeing John Cena in this role because, we know if you watch wrestling, of course, and who he is in wrestling is really who he is in real life. I've been told the hustle, loyalty, respect thing, the whole babyface, good guy, great guy, Make-A-Wish Foundation. You watch him, in WWE and then even in person, he's a very stand-up guy, very well-spoken, just has a great image about himself. And then you watch him in this show, it's completely different. It's trashy and it's vulgar and it's everything he's not, which leads to believe he's a great actor. Now is the Cena we see in the show closer to who he is than what he is in WWE? I'm gonna lean toward WWE still. He's playing a role, although Cena's technically playing a role in WWE too, also though. But it's just weird for me to kind of comprehend all that. As a wrestling fan, but seeing him in this show. And for the record, I love the show. The show's fantastic. Wife and I caught on it finally a couple days ago. So now we're going to go week to week with everybody else who's watching it. I think it's on every Thursday. But it's just strange watching him in this spot, man. It's really strange as a wrestling fan seeing him like this, and wow, he cussing and doing cocaine and having orgies and all this stuff. I'm like, really, John Cena? What? So yeah, crazy thing to watch and to experience as a fan of John Cena, who's retiring. His last match, I just announced it on WWE, is going to be in December, I think 13th on Saturday Night's Main Event on Peacock. And then he goes away, and that's it. So anyway, that's it for me on the podcast. Dated, of course, recorded September 2nd, 2025. I'm on X, EJ Christian 7. Of course, check out all the podcasts on the podcast feed on the audio side on any podcast catcher such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it, Amazon. And of course, watch the show on the YouTube page at youtube.com/Earnestly Podcast feed, of course, on YouTube. The clips of the show, of course, on TikTok and on Instagram. Until the next episode, we will talk to you guys soon. Otherwise, enjoy your wonderful weekend. Enjoy the football, and especially go Seminoles. Later.